welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us on Channel 405. So for the final time this morning, let's start into and get into this conversation rather. So one of South Africa's most celebrated hockey players, Dirkie Chamberlain, has retired from international hockey. Now, Chamberlain represented the country about 250 times, scoring 130 goals in the process in an international career spanning 18 years. She made her national team debut back in the year of 2006 and went on to represent the country in numerous global competitions, the last being the Paris Olympic Games in France. She joins us via Zoom this morning to chat to us about her long as well as illustrious career as she officially hangs her dress and takes on a new role. And of course, I will continue playing in the Netherlands there, where she plays club hockey. Dirkie, very good morning to you, and thank you so much for your time this morning on Newzroom Afrika. You know, for as long as I've known hockey, in the country, for as long as I've covered the sport, you've always been part of the national team. So when one thinks about women's sports and one thinks about women's hockey in this country, your name comes to mind. I wonder though, 18 years, you've now decided to retire from international hockey. Why now? Why after 18 years?
Yeah, thank you, Rachel, and good morning to everybody. After 18 years, I mean, if you look at the average length of other players playing, I think I've really pushed my limits over the years.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just feel that it's the time. The time has come. I think also it's a really good time for the new generation to take over and to take things moving forward. So I feel good within me knowing that I've left the jersey in a better place and that there are exciting new players to take it from here.
Yeah, and we'll speak about the new generation of players because you leave while the new generation of new players are coming up the ranks in South African women's hockey. But I wonder though, in you making that decision to retire, did you sort of have to wrestle with that decision, or is it something that came to mind and you sort of agreed within yourself that the time is now to retire, or was it a long process for you to come to that decision to retire?
I think, like, sometimes when you ask people why they retire, they say to you they just feel it, and there's this feeling that you just know it's the time. And I never really understood that until I kind of got that feeling. And yeah, it's just something that says you're content with where you are, you're content with what you've achieved. And I think for a long period I felt that I still wanted to be there and I still wanted to help and still be there for my country. And then when you see players coming through and you feel content that they have everything in control and they can take over, then you also have that peace in your heart and your soul. And I think another thing is when you know that life is moving on and you also don't want to push your career too far when people are actually asking you to stop. So I think that's also, when you just know, you know.
Yeah, when you just know, 250 times though for the country. It's a huge accomplishment because you're part of an illustrious group of South African players, 6 players, hockey players that have reached this 250 caps. When you look back on the last 18 years, what are some of the memories? What are you most proud about regarding your contribution to the sport in South Africa?
Wow, big question because there's so many memories.
Yeah.
So many to be grateful for and so many different players that I got to play with, so many amazing legends of players that I've got to play with, like P.T. Coetzee, Marsha Maresha, to name only a few. I mean, Lindsay Carlisle was up there and I remember taking over her number. She also a legend, and she said to me, you've got big shoes to fill. And I said, I'm going to do everything I can to make that number proud, and number 12. So I've played with incredible players, and I think the best memories that stand out is probably definitely Paris Olympics. I think an Olympic Games is the ultimate for any athlete.
Yeah.
So the London 2012 Olympics, my first one, a really, really special memory. But I think other memories also was qualifying for London Olympics. We went through a tough qualification process and it was just incredible finally getting that ticket to go and all of us just so excited taking SA Hockey further and knowing that we're going to compete out there for our country.
Yeah.
That's a really good memory for me. And so Olympics, and I think also a really good memory was scoring my first Olympic goal against Argentina. So that was a good one.
Yeah, so, and you've been there for the highest of the highest, you know, for women's hockey in this country. You were there for the lowest of the lows and the in-betweens as well. What stage do you think you leave South African hockey in? And maybe in answering that question, Dirkie, let's speak about the challenges that you also faced, you know, as a player during the last 18 years. And what are you hoping now to see as you take a step backward from the international game and hope to contribute to the game in some way or another?
Definitely faced a lot of struggles. I think it's known that women's sport, especially team sport, isn't as supported as a lot of the male sports. We struggle with sponsorships, and it's been for the last 18 years. It's always been in the back of our mind. It's always been something that we've really had to kind of worry about a little bit, even as players. And I know that a lot of people are working their hardest and trying their best to gain those sponsorships.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, you know, it is where we are in the world at the moment. It's a little bit of a struggle, especially for women's sport, to get that. And I really just hope that that they just continue to go out there and look for those sponsorships, and that people will be open to really looking at the potential that this team has. I mean, showing in Paris that we really competed against top teams who have been training together, who are on a centralized program, who have funding, and we came very close to beating those teams. We came very close to getting points off of those teams. When you look at the potential that this team has, I really hope that going forward that people will look deeper into the game, and not only just at the result, but look at the performances and how much we are doing with the little support that we do have, and how much we are, you know, the success we are having with that, and really step in and help and make sure that we can, for the next 4 years, going into LA Olympics, I know that with support that this team can really make a difference and really write history.
Dirkie, thank you so much for your time this morning on the Weekend Report on Newzroom Afrika. All the best of luck with your new chapter. Thank you so much, and all the best of luck. And thank you again for your contribution to the women's game right here in South Africa. Dirkie Chamberlain, of course, a former South African hockey player, having announced her retirement from international hockey.